First to the floor, Jake Eisenberg, joined by Dan Greenberg, Boston Sports. The unimaginable has happened. Not only did they lose games 1 and 2, they lost games 1 and 2 by going up by 20 points. Not 20 points early, like 20-point leads in the first quarter, 20-point leads in the first quarter. They go up by 20 with 6 minutes to go in the third in game 1. They're up by 20, 73, 53, almost identical leads in game 2 with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, 16-point lead to go with 8 minutes to go in the fourth, and somehow this team now does not know how to put the orange ball. 8 minutes they went without a field goal. Orange ball basket didn't go in one time for the team wearing green for 8 minutes. Greeny, I'm very proud of you that you're here.
All right, where do you want me to start? Where should we even start? You're talking to a dead person. So tell me where you want me to start.
Well, do we want to go catastrophe, what's wrong with the team, blame everybody, everyone sucks, they were always frauds. Jason Tatum deserves all the criticism that he always got and now will continue to get. Joe Mazzulla should never have been replaced as the coach. Or do we say, hey, we're up 20?
I would prefer
just win next time.
I would prefer to not focus on the hyperbole, on the extremes, on the, everyone's favorite word, adjustment. Like, forget that. I would rather focus on reality and what their new reality is after what we just witnessed. I mean, they're the first team to do this in NBA history, right? I mean, think of what we're talking about here. Awesome. Game 1, they missed 45 threes. Game 2, they missed 14 straight shots in the fourth quarter. I mean, it's just almost hard to decide where to start, because it's like this was literally a carbon copy of Game 1. The Josh Hart threes were the OG threes of Game 1. The same way they lost Game 1, they lost Game 2 from the same moment, up 20, like you said, middle of the third quarter. So you just look at it, the numbers are just catastrophic is the only way that you can describe it. Like, the only thing that could put you in this position has to have been catastrophic. And at the end of the day, you have to execute. You go up and down this roster. I mean, hold on. I need to go back. I need to pull this up because we got to go through this one by one. Like, it's just so fucking insane. Excuse my language.
No, please. Okay. It is fucking insane.
Let's start for the series, okay? Jaylen Brown, 34% from the floor, 17% from three. Okay. Derek White, 34% from the floor, 29% from three. Jason Tatum, 28% from the floor, 25% from three. Drew Holiday, 55% from the floor, 22% from three. Peyton Pritchard, 40% from the floor. I'm going to keep reading it. 40% from the floor, 35% from three. Al Horford, 23% from the floor, 10% from three. Kristaps Porzingis, 33% from the floor, 100% for three. So shout out Kristaps.
Shout out Kristaps.
So what did I just say? What is this? Let me count this right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of your rotation players, including 4 of your 5 starters, are shooting under 40% from the floor. Okay. And under 30, 20% from three. So right off the bat, your entire, you're only playing 8 guys and 5 of them have given you absolutely nothing through 2 games. Okay. That's problem number 1. Okay. That's problem number 1. Then if you go to, okay, how do they lose both of these games? By playing, horrific fourth quarter basketball. Just the worst execution you've ever seen. Today, it was 14 missed shots. The other day, it was, maybe not an 8-minute drought, but, wasn't great. Okay, there is not a single member of the Boston Celtics who has made more than 2 field goals in the fourth quarter of 2 games.
That's insane.
Jaylen Brown, 1 for 7. We got to go through it. Jaylen Brown, 1 for 7. Jason Tatum, 1 for 12, 0 for 7. Derek White, 1 for 7, 1 for 6. Drew Holiday, 2 of 5, 1 of 4. Al Horford, 1 of 6, 0 for 2. So not only are they not producing in quarters 1 through 3. Once you're getting to the fourth quarter, there's not a player who has made more than 2 shots in 2 games. Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges have made 12 shots in the fourth quarter. Your entire team has made 9. Make sense of that.
So I guess positive spin, they cannot be physically, humanly possibly worse in the fourth quarter of these basketball games. So
yeah, but you're running out of time, man.
No, correct. No, the margin's gone. And this is why, like, going into game 2, I think we had the requisite amount of fear and understanding that game 2 was a must win. Mm-hmm. And the Cavs game happens yesterday where they blow it in the last minute of the game, up 7. And I'm like, that makes me feel worse. I'm like, there's just something going on at the moment. And I had a bunch of people being like, what are you worried about? We're not the Cavs. I'm like, it's not that I'm not confident that they can win or that they should win. It's that every step of the way now, your margin is just significantly shrunk. So even if you play well in game 3, the Knicks could just shoot the lights out and you lose. And then the series is over. So
it's the Miami problem.
Exactly.
Right? And here's the reality of just how thin this margin is. Okay. In the history of the NBA, okay, for 75, 80 years, whatever the fuck it is, teams that drop the first 2 games at home in a 7-game series are 4-24. Okay. 4-24. So already the last team, the 2017 Celtics did it when Rondo got hurt. Obviously the 23 Celtics did not do it, right? So all time is 4-24. Okay. If you win game 3, if you split, if you win game 3 but lose game 4, those teams are 0-6.
Correct.
Okay. If you lose game 3, we know the season's over. So basically, their new reality is either you win both of these games in MSG, or you become the first team in NBA history to split after dropping the first 2 and still win the series. That's your reality. Dude. You either win both or your season is effectively over.
Yeah. My wife just walked in and I just shook my head and her face dropped in a way that the rest of us.
Because I just got a phone call. I had to turn it off.
Right.
I couldn't answer it.
Like people don't believe that this just happened. Like it's like it did not feel possible coming into the series. You could go 0-2, down 0-2 to this team, and the fact that they did it in this way again. The way that you just laid that out, you have to win both games. Like obviously anything's possible, and that's how like the world
but you
works.
say that, but again, anything is possible. But you would become the first team in NBA history.
Literally the first, it's literally been done 0 times. And there's a reason why it's been done 0 times, because you look at a single game and so many things can happen that lead to the result going one way or another. The Knicks are not bad enough for you to like just guarantee that you're able to come back from 3-1 or come back from 3-0. Obviously. I know you also tweeted out the outcomes. So like when you're down 0-2 being the home team. So what you said, 4 teams have done it.
So 4-24 all time since the 2-2-1 format, 1984.
Okay. 84.
Right? So all time teams that are
40 years
start a series. So the higher seed dropping 2 games at home have won the series 4 times.
So the way I'll spin that, 2 of them happened. One happened in 2021, the Western Conference first round between the Clippers and the Mavericks. The next most recent one, 2017, you might be familiar. The Boston Celtics down 0-2 when Rondo got hurt. So very important. We like to maybe romanticize the Gerald Green adjustment by putting him into the starting lineup. Rajon Rondo was maybe the second most important player for the Bulls in that series. He gets injured. But then Dallas did it in 2005 against the Rockets. So if we want to squeeze it down from 2005 on, they're 3 and something. It's a little less. It's happened a little more frequently, a little more recently, but that's like the most cope thing in the world. You just have to win these next 2 games, and you fucking can. Firstly,
here's what's so annoying about it. You were up 20 points in the
Twice.
Twice.
Right?
Like, it's so inconceivable.
The odds were, I bet on the Celtics I'm twice when they were up 20. And they were 20-1 favorites both when they were up 20 in the third quarter. And again, when they went back up 16, it was Derek or Pritchard hit a three to put them up 16 with 8 minutes to go. Pritchard hits that three, and then you're like, you have a 99% chance. Like you are one stop or one bucket away. You are 2 buckets. You're really like two buckets
away.
2 buckets away from ending the game.
Yep.
And that's it. So we know it's possible. They're literally favored in the next game. The Celtics are favored in game 3. They're going to be favored in game 4. I checked the series odds. It's very close. The Knicks are only slight favorites to win the actual series despite being up 2-0. That did not help us for a second in the Miami Heat series, by the way.
No.
Just so we're clear, it didn't help us for a moment, obviously. But so all you got to do is win, firstly, 1 game. But you really now have to win 2. And they can clearly do it.
Right. They can, but also can they? Like,
I don't know. Maybe not.
You can't trust a 9. Tatum came back into the game with a 9-point lead and 5:05 to go.
Great.
That sounds great. And they went 1 for 8 from the floor and lost the minutes by 10.
Insane. So there's 2 things I think that to be upset about, which is awesome. The blowing of the lead is the worst part, I would say. But then there was like the late game execution part. It's like, okay, you blew the lead.
Mm-hmm.
You blew the lead. You can still win the game, similar to last game. You went down 6 with 2 minutes to go, and you took the lead again. Like you had kind of stabilized.
It was literally a carbon copy of game 1 down to the final fucking minute.
They were winning again, up 1. Tatum, great play by Joe. So let's have a look at the crunch time stuff. So something that everyone's talking about is the Mitchell Robinson, the Hacker Robinson thing.
It ended up screwing them over. It backfired. And I just don't understand why they're so horny to do it when they're not in the bonus. If you're in the bonus and you're on the floor, sure, because that limits their possession. But you had 3 fouls to give. Again, I went back and looked at this. They had 2 team fouls with 2 minutes and 43 seconds left. Okay. Then you had the immediate Derek White fouled with 2:34 or 2:43, something like that left in the game. Okay. Then you had the intentional fouls back to back, which brought you to 4. Now you're in the bonus. Al Horford fouls Cat. Poor defensive rebounding once again. Right. Now you're in the bonus. So on that last possession, right, had you not done those 2 intentional fouls, there's a strong likelihood that you are playing those final 18 seconds with a foul to give. You had 0 fouls in the final 2 minutes if you take away those intentional fouls. That way you can foul in a situation like we saw. If you see Brunson start to get going, you foul him and you make him reset and you get to set your defense. So it's like just the thought process behind it makes no fucking sense.
He overthought it completely because I thought that it worked in the first half of game 1. Clearly, right? You had Mitch Robinson going to the free throw line. You were stuck in the mud. He goes like 3 for 10 from the line. You end up with like a 15-point kind of dictate the matchups type thing. But when he's on the court, obviously, I understand that he's an offensive rebound threat. But like defensively, I find it real. I thought when Luke Cornett and Horford were out there, not Porzingis, defensively when Mitchell Robinson was out there, I thought they did an incredible job. I mean, the defense, this is so fucking frustrating because the defense for like 95, 96, 97% of the night was awesome. The defense all night I thought was really, really good. That's a reason. That's why Brunson was like whatever he was, 6 for 19.
That's the thing. You haven't even gotten a good Brunson, like.
Well, that was a part of the calculus in this series is that you're a good Brunson defender. 6 for 19 tonight. He has 7 assists. He's a -1. And Joe points to Mitch Robinson being a +19. It's like we all know single game plus minus is like can be a little fugazi, right? He only played 22 minutes. Like these swings he was essentially just on the court when the Celtics were collapsing. He just happened to be out there. And was it because Mitchell Robinson was out there? Or was it
he did grab that big. I can understand it.
There was a couple plays.
They gave up 6 offensive rebounds and 8 second chance points in the fourth quarter. I mean, their rebounding issues lost them this game. That should not be overlooked. But it's just, why would you, especially when you are playing a guy in Brunson who is always a threat to draw a foul, why would you give away? You still had a lead, and the fouls you were committing don't put Robinson at the line. So what good does it do other than just lower your margin for error that you handcuffed yourself, in the biggest moments of the game because you couldn't foul. If you have a foul to give, and Brunson's holding the ball, they get it in, foul at 8 seconds or 7 seconds, make them start over. Then maybe, you're able to cause chaos and he takes a lower percentage shot. Instead, he baited you into you had to foul to not give up a clean look, but because of your intentional fouls, you were in the bonus.
I'm looking at the box score. Shout out the Knicks fan that's here. Like anyone talking shit, saying Brunson's this, Brunson's that, Tatum's not this, Tatum's not that. Yeah, talk your shit. Like Tatum deserves. We'll get to him in a second. But I'm looking at the box score. I'm like, Brunson 6 for 19, Bridges 6 for 18, which I almost can't fathom because he was the reason they got back in the game. His 6 field goals felt like they happened. You go up 20, and then Bridges made that little 7-0 run, and OG Anunoby's 2 for 9. So you're 8 plus 14 for $1 million for their top 3 scorers. The only guy that kind of killed you, Hart hit the 3 threes, which hurt you. But like their 3 main scorers go 6 for 18, 6 for 19, 2 for 9. You tell me that before the game, it's like so much in this game went right for so long. Yeah. And then until it didn't, which was again the carbon copy of that first game. I almost Joe deserves blame, I think, which is fair, but I think we've probably been gone too long here without talking about Jalen and Jason. But I think it's Jason Tatum, 2 games here that are just so far below what you need, and honestly, not that far below what you needed. Like you didn't need much more. You needed instead of going 5 for 19. 6 for 19 in the way that Brunson went 6 for 19. It's like you just needed 1 extra play. And from the beginning,
around the rim.
I thought he missed. I thought he heard the noise. I thought he listened to everybody. I thought he listened to everybody. He passed up all these pull-up threes and then drove into terrible shots.
Yep.
Fine, don't take the pull-up three.
It's exactly how the people who cry about 3-point volumes say you should play.
It's their fault.
You saw why. It has to be outside in, not inside out with him. And he wasn't that aggressive. He wasn't a shooting threat, which allows them to clog the paint and make his rim contests a struggle. People are going to talk about the threes. They missed 35 shots in the paint in 2 games. Okay.
Right. Dude, the 2 layups that he missed in the first quarter, I was like, he's a mess.
I have to read more stats. I have to.
Please,
it's going to bother me. Okay. For the series, 67% in the restricted area, 30% in the paint. This is for the whole team. 30% in the paint, 27.8% from mid-range, 21% on corner threes, and 25% on above the break threes. So even when you are getting into the paint, it hasn't mattered who it is, especially Tatum and Brown have just been horrendous at exit. I mean, even Al is rushing and smoking little baby hooks. But it
starts.
Best players are not giving you what you need to win. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know who knows if he was what he's listening to or who he's listening to, but they watched the film. But it could be anything, but it looked like a person who paid attention to the outside noise.
100%.
And he was so unsure of how to attack. It was like such a contrast. He had that stretch in the third quarter where he made the 5. I mean, I'm assuming that's where he made those 5 shots, where he was attacking in the pick and roll. He had that in and out dribble that was like the staple of how he attacked Towns in every matchup all year. And we saw it. And so he got off to a bad start, but it's even he got off to a bad start. We've seen him rally plenty of times, like game 6 against Philly. Plenty of times guys have bad games, especially the best players can have a bad quarter, a bad half. And then they can
1 of 12 and 0-7 from the 3 in the series in the fourth quarter. I mean,
have it.
Jalen 1 of 7, 0 of 6, whatever. Your 2 best players have made 2 shots in the fourth quarter. I mean, when would we ever think that that's even possible?
It's crazy because after game 1, I was like, I know Jalen and Jason will respond. That's just kind of what they do. And man, you talk about the pillars of playoff success. The defense was there, but the rebounding again They won
until the fourth quarter.
But eventually, but it's like that was just like but then the one thing they didn't do, which I thought killed them, was the turnovers. They turned the Knicks over pretty well, 16. Like the Knicks had 15, but the Celtics had 16.
Yep.
And it's like these little Jalen was forcing it against OG.
6 for him. Yep, 6 for him.
6 for Jalen, and like he's 20 points on 23 shots. It starts at Jason.
Right, because Tatum not being aggressive shifted how they could attack. And remember, there's no Porzingis, so that means you're getting a lot of Jalen isolation shot creation, right? Or Derek White catch and shoot threes. So the fact that Jalen probably only had 1 or 2 assists today because, he wasn't able to be the secondary playoff Tatum's attention and aggressiveness. There wasn't any playing off of his gravity because Tatum wasn't creating any of that gravity. So it's so disappointing. And even with all that, you were still able to build another 20-point lead. Like, think of it. So like when you just try to understand and comprehend how all of these sequence of events could lead up to, nobody's making a shot. Okay. They're shooting under 30% from 3. They're turning it over, yet they still had a 20-point lead. And you can't hold on to that. It's just so unfathomable. My brain can't even process it.
I really can't. Like this is one of the more astounding box scores I can remember. Like Horford 2 for 11 is such a weird number.
0 for 5,
see.
0 for 5 from 3. He
Derek
was 1
White.
for 6 in the fourth quarter. It's just like, it was the same thing as game 1, where all of these missed fourth quarter threes are wide the fuck open.
Because then that's what he does, man. Like that's like of the guys that you trust, and how many moments have there been against Milwaukee and Philly and Miami last season, Indiana? Like he hit the biggest shot of the series behind the back, Tatum to the corner, drilled it. It's just like at some point, the game is simple. You have to just put the orange ball in the basket 2 more times. And like, fuck, man, they shot 30% from 3 in that Heat series. Through 2 games, they've outdone themselves. They're 25% from 3. And like, we can make it more complicated. There's a lot of factors going into it. But the reality is, like, you don't even need to shoot well.
Right.
Like, you don't even need to shoot well. 30% from 3 be up 2-0.
Said. He's like, we picked a bad time to have our worst shooting stretch of the season. It's happening again. Again, I read you the numbers. Half your team is shooting 25% from the floor. Not even from the fucking 3. Just from the floor. Right?
And And so it's...
But let me ask you something. We talked about Missoula and the intentional foul. I mean, when you look at Horford and how he looked 38 tonight, right? Especially down the stretch. You played him all 12 minutes of the fourth quarter. Luke Cornett sitting over there was the only big that did anything all night. Only played, I think, 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You can't find a 3 or 4 minute stretch to give Al some rest so that he doesn't have to. So this is sort of what we were talking about on Monday of like, it's not fair to him to have to rely on this 838. Like, this is why you have Jason Tatum. This is why you have, Jaylen Brown and Derek White. It's like Al Horford is your cherry on top. But today his role required him to be, the guy to make all the shots and get all the rebounds. It's like, that's not a fair expectation to have, regardless of how beautiful his eyes are.
So I'm looking at, because the Cornet thing's a really good call because he was excellent tonight. I thought early his chemistry and the 2-man game with him and Derek White, when the Knicks were trying to keep Brunson out, Derek was getting downhill and there was either going to be like a look at the rim or he found Cornet kind of in the dunker spot. Cornet goes 3 for 4 tonight. He was rebounding well. Defensively, I thought they did a really good job with Cornet out there. So Pritchard hit
plus 11. He was plus 11.
So Pritchard hits a 3. As we've covered painfully to put us up 16.
And then Cornet and Tatum get subbed out at 8:27.
Correct. So that's it. And
then you begin the non-Tatum minutes where you went 0 for 6 from the floor and 0 for 4 from 3.
That was also weird. He left Derek and Jason out longer than they normally would. Like Tatum didn't. Who knows if that would have mattered? But Tatum didn't come back in.
5:05.
5:05, which is weird. And
so Derek came in like a minute. Derek came in like a minute or 2 ahead of that, I believe.
Yeah.
Maybe out of a timeout. And then
he kind of did try Cornet, I guess, then, right? Because Cornet was in the game right around that, like the collapse was kind of happening. Cornette was on the court.
When did he come back in?
He came back out with 5 minutes to go.
No, Cornette came out with Tatum, I thought, at 8:27.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Cornette came. Oh, I don't know, because I'm seeing 5:05 sub Tatum for Cornette. So he must have come back in again before that. So Cornette came in.
Oh, it was all right. So Cornette came in. Cornette came in for Tatum at 8:27, and then was on the court from 8:27 to 5:05 when they went on a 7-0 run. Your lead went from 16-9.
So he tried it. I think that's fair for Joe there, right?
All right. Well, then shame. I was just thinking, Horford's playing all 12 minutes. I just don't understand that.
Maybe you didn't need to go double bigs. You instead, but and that's why I'm hesitant to put too much on Joe. Like, sure, we've talked about how we disagree with like the Hack Robinson thing, but at the end of the day, man, your best player, the guy who just won 4 straight first team All NBAs, and we're having conversations like, no, he's in. It's Jokic on tier 1, and Tatum's in tier 2 with SGA, Giannis, and Luka, and you can't go 5 for 19.
Yeah, you can't. All right. So hold on. I wanted to keep looking at this. The only thing I can think of is there was a timeout. Celtics took a timeout with 6:39 in the fourth quarter, up 12. At that point, theoretically, could you use that to buy, Horford a little bit of rest, go double big with Cornette and Porzingis instead of Horford and Cornette for that final minute and a half and before Tatum comes back in at 5:05. So it's like easy to say after the fact, but like that you could have done a swap to buy Al a breather there, but you're probably thinking, hey, we're up 12. He's our best, it's Al Horford. And
we got 2 days off.
Best players didn't execute, and that's what mattered more.
And he actually didn't play that many minutes because he only played because of the 2 fouls he got in the first half. They sat him, and then they kind of rolled with Cornette a little bit out there. So Horford only played 29 total minutes. So he would.
But it's consecutive.
I know. So that is just painful. So I mean, Tatum, those layups, and that. Oh, you know what just came to mind that botched. It was right when they had the 20-point lead. It was like
the 2-on-1 fast, the 3-on-1 fast break,
the 2-on-1 fast break where Jalen and Jason botched it. It was a nice pass, but he bounced it
instead of lobbed it.
Just lob it up to Jalen, and Jalen should have caught it, but it could have been a better pass. Regardless, you have to score on that possession, and they don't.
And then they hit a 3, didn't they? Didn't they come down and hit a 3?
Correct. 5-point swing. That's the game. It's simple. It's just
simple
as that.
Starts the snowball, right?
Correct.
And then again, it was another situation of you can take a couple on the chin to go from a 20-point lead and live in that 14 to 18-point range, right? Like trade baskets. Their problem was they had double dips. They had the dip to get it into, single digits, and then they had the eventual fourth quarter dip, just like we saw in game 1. So it's like, and they did it virtually the same way, missing wide open threes and missing everything at the paint while not rebounding and giving up second chance points.
Man, there was some wide open looks, like 4 in a row in the fourth quarter. It was the Tatum one.
Tatum, Horford had a couple.
And like, if you want to say they need to stop shooting the threes, like I saw a freeze frame. It's like Tatum with the ball. Brunson's kind of fallen down. So Tatum could have whipped a pass directly to Horford under the rim. Like, sure, if you want to fucking freeze a basketball game in the playoffs, right. Like when Tatum literally, there's no one even like trying to get out to him.
You want your best player to take.
Like, yeah.
And that, like, I'm sorry. It's not
everybody wants that.
Not you can't shoot threes problem. It's Jason Tatum executes the situation problem. You know what I mean? Like, people are going to harp on that. And it's, again, when you watch the live video, Towns is starting to trail in on Horford, Hart's crashing in. Like,
sure,
that's a shot you have to take, but you have to make it.
And then the Jalen one, he comes around to pick. Again, they're trying to keep Brunson out of it. And he butt naked, wide open pull up. I get that it's not the perfect shot. But it's like, okay, you want him to drive? Richard Robinson's just camped under the basket. Maybe you want him to drive and then take a mid-range pull up, but it's like, Jalen also forced a couple. Forced, but also shots that he made. He had Brunson posted up late in this game, 2 feet in the paint. That little get into the body, right hand little floater, which was Jalen was awesome in the post this season. That's a shot that I love for Jalen. 2 feet, 9-footer over the top of a 6-foot defender that he's way bigger, way stronger than. You just have to make one of those.
You have to. It comes down to execution, right? They made more plays down the stretch than you did for the second straight game. When they had to make a bucket, they found a bucket, whether that was Bridges or OG or Brunson. And then on your end, your best players are missing layups and everyone is missing wide open threes. There are so many factors that go into that situation. But at the end of the day, it comes down to, can you make your shots when it matters? And for the second straight game, it unfolded in the exact same manner.
It's honestly incredible. You look at the numbers for the fourth quarter. So the Knicks have 30 points. The Celtics have 17. Honestly, I don't even know how they got to 17. Doesn't feel like they got there, right? But the Celtics go 5 for 24 and the Knicks go 12 for 24. So 50% from the field. So it's you didn't deserve to win, honestly. Truly, you shat your pants that bad that once it started whittling down that to that moment, I'm praying that they win. But I'm
right.
At this point, the Knicks are taking it from you. But it's they went 50% from the field. It's if they just go 42%, 43%, they're playing really fucking well. Same in the fourth quarter of game one. They shot 6 for 10 from 3. Brunson goes 4 for 4 from 3 in the fourth quarter. It's they're playing crazy good. You're playing as bad as you possibly can. Right. So if you want to look forward, it's okay, these 20-point leads, that's in line with the 4 previous matchups that we saw in the regular season. The difference is, because the Knicks actually made runs in those regular season games, the difference was the Celtics just continued to be normal and be the team they've been for the past 2 seasons until this fucking moment.
It was on January 11th. Let me go back to their schedule because it was after another one of these absolutely horrific collapses. Hold on. I'm just clicking over to it. January. It was the Sacramento. Okay. You remember that Sacramento game returning home from the West Coast trip? And then Anthony Carter went bananas.
Evan Carter. Yeah.
Okay. I wrote a blog the next day and it was essentially said the Celtics have turned into the worst fourth quarter team on the planet and it's fucking up their season. This is what that looks like. This has been a season-long issue. It's arguably their number one red flag all season long. They were at the bottom of the league in offense, defense, net rating, points, opponent points per game, opponent field goal percentage. Every conceivable metric, they were 28th, 27th, just horrendous. Here you have it. Those regular season issues have now essentially put your season on life support. Because you were so good and you did everything you needed to do from quarters 1 through 3. Well, 1 through 2.5, midway through the third quarter. But just, your inability to execute in the fourth quarter, even in non-Jalen Brunson minutes of the fourth quarter, you're going to miss 14 straight shots and it's not something that you can say, oh, all they did was take threes and they missed 14 of them.
No.
The majority of them were twos.
I know. This is what's so funny and what was funny about game one is how obsessed everybody was with the threes. It was at the very end of the fourth, there was some ridiculous shot choice, but it was way less about the threes and way more about
the
executing.
Two.
It was and creating the comfortable shots. And they haven't been able to create comfortable shots at the rim. And I think part of that is the rim reads from Tatum. His whole development that we were lauding for this season was the playmaking and the command have gone to another level where the scoring efficiency isn't as important. Now, this level of people that have been pulling up receipts of me saying Tatum's scoring efficiency isn't as important as people are making out. I promise you right now, I didn't say 40% true shooting and 1 for 7 in every fourth quarter would be good enough. There's a wide gap between good God, 50% true shooting in the finals. Everybody, that would be nice. That'd be great. That'd be great.
And
yeah.
Are you ready to have your brain broken even more?
No.
Because I mean, we're just gonna keep going. wasn't like the consensus of, man, they're finally out of the grips of the Magic defense. They're going to be playing the Knicks, who they've had their way with. You have shot considerably better against the Magic in every possible area than you have against the Knicks. 78% in the restricted, 34% in the paint, 42% mid-range, 39% corner three, 38% above the break three. You were essentially normal, right? If you remember that Orlando series, their offensive rating, I think, was either 4th or 5th in the playoffs at the time. It was like 117. The issue is the possessions were so low that the scores were low. Here, you have more possessions, but your offense has been horrendous against a much worse defense.
I don't understand.
So I don't understand. Slightly worse, right? Like you horrendous. Were normal. You were normal good levels against the Magic. This is like worse than the 2023 Heat series. And I know we didn't want to, attribute this to a reincarnation of that, but it literally is the only thing that is different is, the Knicks haven't had a magnet ball game yet.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. And that's, I think the Celtics defense has been so good. So there's a comment here about Tatum, which I was thinking about before. Like at times Tatum looked lazy on defense, didn't close out properly. I thought Tatum defensively was a fucking beast for the most part today. Some of the switches onto Brunson, but I wonder, is the rebounding and the switching onto Brunson, the battling Mitchell Robinson, like one of my favorite things about Tatum is the fact that he can give you 25 a night on pretty good efficiency, play make, and then switch 1 through 5. And then, by the way, he's averaging 15 rebounds a game in this series. And it's not all that because he was struggling offensively in the beginning of the game, but is he like pacing himself because he knows he's going to play 42, 43 minutes. And we'll address this maybe more in the offseason, but like KP not being there is a big problem for this, right? Like he's not an elite rebounder, but he's a good enough rebounder where you're not only relying on your two best rebounders in this series are Derek White's averaging 10 rebounds a game, and that's awesome for him. I love Derek White. But it's like you're a big man. Like Cornet's actually rebounding at a great rate. Maybe the answer is play him more because he's been pretty good and he's cleaning the boards at a rate. But Horford's playing 32 minutes a night. He's giving you 5.5 boards. But as we've covered, it's not fair to ask him to do more. No. And the Kristaps Porzingis thing, maybe we get to him next here. But like, I don't know if it's asking too much of Tatum for at the end of these games he's gassed. I don't actually think that it's that. But I do think that maybe going forward, it's like, I don't know, SGA doesn't have to fucking rebound 15 times a game. He's not Giannis. He's not 7'1". He's not Jokic, who can give. He shouldn't be giving you 15 rebounds a game, really. But it's an incredible asset that he is. I think he's capable of doing both because he did it in the Magic series. That's what's so fucking insane. 35 points per game against a much better defense on 60% true shooting, plus coming into this series against the defense that he loves to play against, and now he's completely fallen apart. How will you respond, Chasen? How will you respond? I believe in you. I believe in you.
I mean, if maybe this is all just part of the arc of, the narrative last year was their path was so easy. Well, maybe the flip side of that is they complete a hard as shit path to a repeat championship. But I do think we have to, you mentioned Porzingis a little bit, and this series and what has happened and his availability is really like kind of a major issue, right? Like, the fact that you're getting nothing from this role of a player is like of his importance. Like the scoring drops, the shooting droughts, that was supposed to be him. He's barely on the court. He can't move. He's a shell of himself. He's not spacing the floor, even though he hit a 3. It's like,
honestly,
like again, this is now game number 14 as a Celtic. When is the last time he had a good fucking playoff game?
So I'm torn on here. Like, there's the objective fact that we need him to be good for us to win at this year in the playoffs, and the reality is he's not there for us. the other part of it is like this illness is clearly affecting him. He could barely move.
I
and
know.
run up
So
and
you
down the
feel
court.
like an asshole to like
Yeah.
give him shit for it. Because like
Yeah.
clearly, he's still not even saying what it is. So it's like definitely something serious. So I can't like I'm a human. It's just basketball. Like who gives a fuck? But at the same time, it's like it's so maddening that even in a situation where he's physically healthy, he has a serious illness that nobody can seem to solve. Like, what are the fucking? And last year he had an ankle injury that like one person gets a year on the entire planet. Like, what? It's just, I just don't.
So,
but you're seeing his absence and why he's important and why the concept of his skill set was traded for to just remove that. And then you're also removing Hauser. So it's like so your spacing is already taking a hit. And then if you're adding in a version of Tatum that's not, using his 3-point shooting as a weapon to bend the defense, your spacing is fucked for your driving lane, which is why they've missed every fucking paint shot through 2 games. It's like, it's all connected.
Yeah. So like if you would have, when we had Knicks film school on before the series, and I'm listening to those guys, it's like what has to happen for the Knicks to win this series. We talked about the Devil Magic shooting. They drafted their most important players, and Porzingis is right at the top of the list because he stretches the court in a way that other guys don't. So
the exact way that we thought he was going to bend this matchup.
Correct.
He's maybe done 1 pick and pop in 2 games.
Yeah. So you've got clearly you don't have Porzingis in the series for all intents and purposes. He honestly he played well considering what he's dealing with. It feels like the fact that he gave you a 3 and gave you 8 points on 5 shots is a miracle. And that's why it makes it so much more painful because you know how talented and how efficient he can be in the playoffs. Which is why the whole point Brad Stevens traded for him. So you don't have him. And then you just look at the shooting splits. It's like, hey, if I told you before the series that Tatum was going to go 5 for 19 and Jalen was going to go 8 for 23 in game 2, and in game 1 they were going to combine for 14 for 43, I think you'd think that the Knicks have a pretty good chance of winning the first 2 games. So that's like the margin for error. That's why the series is not over. Maybe we start to move going forward here. The series is not over because these things are all true. Jalen and Jason have played some of the worst basketball I've seen them play, and I know they can create advantages, and I know they can win on the road, and I know that I've seen them come back in big spots in the past. Horford, Derek White, I know that they can come through in big spots. Horford 2 for 11, Derek White 6 for 17. These are just astronomically bad numbers. So it doesn't take much to win these 2 games, obviously. So it can be done. The problem is do the Knicks raise their level at home now?
Right. Because, up 3-0, the series is over. You're going to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? That's why today was so huge because, you look at it you have a situation where, yes, it can be done. And yes, it's, they just need to be normal. All that is true. I would just say you don't have little margin of error. You have no margin of, you only get a margin of error back if you win 3 straight. But then that margin of error,
win 2.
Right? Because you need to be able to afford to lose a game and not be on the brink of elimination. That's what I consider margin for error, right?
So Greeny, all they got to do is win 3 games in a row.
Well, 3 games in a row, and you're allowed to lose 1 more. The problem with that is the reward for that is you've entered a game 7, and we've now, you've now entered a game 7 while in theory being 1-2 at home, just like the Miami series.
But how many 3-game winning streaks do the Celtics have this season? All they got to do, going back to being normal, all they got to do, honestly, is do what they did to the New York Knicks in the regular season, is win 4 in a row.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, the Bucks did it in the finals. Granted, they lost the first 2 games on the road, but you know what? They came back down 2-0. The Celtics in 2017 did it. We have technically seen it. It's just something that, it's like when they say, what is it? Every last 5 champions haven't made it past the second round. Repeating is hard.
Crazy.
The fact that it took something like this from a team that has been such a machine for 200, 300 games almost of a season is just so it's just so mind-boggling that it's just you only had to make 2 or 3 baskets in the fourth quarter and you won the game. Like
It's
2 or
crazy.
3, and your season and you're fine. You're going back one, you can afford a split if you win tonight. Like the entire complexity of the series changes if you just don't miss 14 shots in a row. Like how is that possible?
Yeah. So on one hand, it's immense pain. On the other hand, all they need to do is do what they did in game 1 and 2, and then not have the worst fourth quarters that in history, literally in history. So you said we've got to do something that's never been done before. Well, yeah, the Celtics just did it, so we know they're capable of doing stuff that no one's ever done before.
But that's the wrong direction. You got to go the opposite.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just stuff that's never been done before happens every day. We just got to do it, baby. And I mean, not to mention they did another thing that's never been done before. They'd never lost a game with any of the refs reffing them. Any of them today. I saw a tweet. Like the refs, they were like 6-0, 4-0, 1-0 against the 3 refs that are reffing today. So congratulations, you made history in like 17 different ways in the past 2 days.
It's just so like I could handle if they were just blown out and run off the gym. Like that hurts and that's embarrassing. But like these are the soul crushing shotgun blasts to the chest that like. Thank God they fucking won in 2024.
Yeah, no question. Yeah.
If this was going on after not winning a title last year, I would be like apoplectic or whatever the fucking word is. I don't even know. My brain is mush.
Yeah.
But like the fact that they have that will make me feel good. But at the end of the day, like to be in the position that they're in and how they got there is just so inconceivable. It's like it's hard to even fathom.
It's funny. On the flip side, I was like, as the Pacers are obviously up 2-0 against the Cavs now, and like yesterday, I was like, I don't feel like the Cavs are out of the series. Like if they, depending on if they get their players back, but when it's me happening to me, it doesn't feel like it's possible. And I'm the idiot. So this hat, I started wearing this hat after we lost the second game of last playoff run. We ripped off 10 straight after that. That did not happen after wearing the hat this year. So these fucking guys make me look like a dumbass.
I mean, listen, I debated, do I switch TVs? I stuck through it.
I tried.
I was like, good job sticking with your it was a carbon copy collapse. It's just, listen, it's first to 4 losses, right? You have 2 to, you're not dead, but you quite literally are on life support. Like,
who do you think the pressure's on now?
The Celtics.
Still?
Yes.
I don't know.
100%. 100%.
So the Celtics have to go down 3-0 for the pressure to flip back to the Knicks because the series is over? Yeah, it definitely does. If they were to go up 3-0, the pressure's all on the Knicks.
I don't think it's not more pressure to drop a game and go down 2-1 as it is if you drop game 3, your season's over.
I agree. I was just wondering.
Yeah, the Knicks don't have pressure until they're down in a series.
But again, flip it through. If you're the Knicks, you're like, if all we got to do is win one game and we're into the conference finals. Whereas if we lose one, then the door is and then it's like that's a series all of a sudden.
But even still, you have such a margin for error. I think that trumps your pressure because it's not like teams are coming back from 3-1 every 5 seconds. You know what I mean? Like that's still a sizable lead. Their pressure only comes if they drop both at home and then they lose game 5 on the road.
Man, I think it's going to be hard to get the pressure off the Celtics in this series, literally unless they go down 3-0. And then it's like, who cares anyway where the pressure is because you're down 3-0. Greeny, this was therapeutic, I'd say. I think I feel 2 to 3% better.
I feel worse. I just feel worse. I don't know.
Yeah, fair. Shout out everybody in the chat. Appreciate you. There's clearly a lot of Knicks fans here, and I'd be here too if I was you. So that's.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't. Man, it sucks because I've got my ankle that I've just had surgery on last week, and like usually I'd like switch off, go surfing, go just into the nature, and I can't fucking do anything. So I'm just like stuck, shackled to my bed.
You want to be
on my couch.
It's just you want to be optimistic, but at some point you
How?
have to address the reality of the situation that they've put themselves in.
Bro,
You know,
it's
it's going to
yeah.
take something probably never seen before in NBA history for them to keep their title hopes alive. And this is the result of blowing 2 20-point leads midway through the third quarter.
You don't
home.
really get to win at home.
Like, you don't deserve to win a series in which you blow 2 games at home up 20 points. Like, you just don't.
Yeah.
That's just not. It's just not championship level basketball. I'm sorry.
Clearly, yeah.
It's not. This is this looks like the version that couldn't get over the hump, not the version that used that pain to fuel their execution and, you know, be at their best when the time came from it. Now you're getting the worst at the worst possible time.
Yeah. And the flip side of it is the team that hasn't won the title, the OKC Thunder, that just they lost game 1, but they came out and then just like
won by 50 or whatever.
50. They got up by 20 and then kept building the lead and kept building the lead and kept building the lead. And that's a team that looks like they're ready to win the title. And the Celtics do not look like a team. It's like, yeah, on its face, of course they can win the next game. But you got to factor in like how disastrous the last 2 games were.
Right.
So it's like if we're only down. If you're playing a normal game in regular season, you're down. Oh, we're only down 12. But if you play like garbage and you're down 12, it's like, well, it would involve them not playing like garbage in order to actually win the game. So that would be what I would advise of them. Greeny, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you putting your heart on the line out here for us tonight. Everybody in the chat, appreciate you. This sucks. Peace.